Bonne journée, comment vous allez? J'espère que vous allez très bien. Merci une fois de plus d'être connecté sur ce réseau de cours de français par papier. Welcome to this channel, uh, French class by papier. First of all, I want to thank everybody. I saw your comment and I'm very, very grateful. But I promise that in our subsequent video, all your questions will be taken into consideration. I will answer all your questions. So, but I just encourage you to continue watching this video and subscribe. Today's lesson will be on a particular tense in French language. Passé composé, le passé composé. Wonderful. This tense is a tense used in French language to talk about past actions that took place once and for a short period of time. So if you want to use passé composé, you make sure that the things you are going to talk about are things that happened in the past for a short period of time. Passé composé is a tense we obtain by putting some things together. To use a verb in passé composé, you need two things. The first thing is the auxiliary. So, passé composé, you need an auxiliary. The auxiliary can be avoir or être. The past tense also needs a past participle. So, passé composé need an auxiliary and a past participle. Because in passé composé, a verb cannot stand on its own. It needs a helping verb we call auxiliaire. Auxiliaire. So the auxiliaire can be avoir or être. Depending on the verb you are using, because we have some verbs that are using avoir as auxiliary and others are using être as auxiliary. So the auxiliary, you are going to put it under present tense, le présent de l'indicatif. So let us have a format of passé composé. So to obtain passé composé in a sentence, you know that a sentence is made of subject, verb, and the object. So for passé composé, if you want to talk about an action in the past, in a sentence, you need first of all your subject, the sujet. But before you introduce the verb, you put the auxiliary, être or avoir, under present tense. And now you change the verb into what? Participe passé, past participle. And you have your passé composé. The question you can ask ourselves is how to choose an auxiliary for a verb. It's very simple. We have a list of verbs called Dr. P. Mrs. Van der Trump. Dr. P. Mrs. Van der Trump. So this list is made of 17 verbs. 17 verbs. So if you can look into this list, we have number 1, we have descendre, rester, passer, monter, revenir, sortir, venir, arriver, naître, devenir, entrer, retourner, tomber, rentrer, aller, mourir, partir. So you have these 17 verbs on the list. So these 17 verbs use auxiliaire être in passé composé. So if you can have the meaning, descendre means to get down, rester to stay, monter to climb, revenir, to come back, sortir, to go out, venir, to come, arriver, to arrive, naître, to be born, devenir, to become, entrer, to get in, retourner, to go back or to return, tomber, to fall, aller, to go, mourir, to die, and partir, to leave. So these 17 verbs are using auxiliaire être under passé composé. But attention, the verb passé can only use être if it means to pass, a movement verb, to pass. Because in other contexts, the verb to pass, passer, can also mean to stay for a period of time. But if the verb means to pass as a movement verb, use auxiliaire être. We also have pronominal verbs. Next time in our subsequent lesson, we will talk about pronominal verbs. For other verbs, use the auxiliary avoir. So what does that mean? If a verb doesn't belong to that to that list of 17 verbs I mentioned, don't use avoir. Don't use être, sorry. If a verb doesn't belong to that list of 17 verbs, don't use être, but use avoir. But in the situation the verb is on that list, use être. If the verb is a pronominal verb, also use être. So now, if you want to use a verb in passé composé, find out if the verb is on the list of 17. And if it is a pronominal verb. If it is the case, use auxiliaire être. Talking about participe passé. How do you obtain participe passé of a verb? For the verbs ending with er, the English er, just remove the ending er and change it to accent aigu, and you have the past participle, the participe passé. Example, manger. You remove the er, the er to manger, and you change it to accent aigu. You will have what? Manger, meaning eating. Parler. You remove the er, you have parler. Aller. You also remove the er, you change it to accent aigu, you have aller, meaning gone. For verbs ending with er, the French I, the English ir, change the er to e, change the ir to I, and you have the past participle. You have some example like sortir. You remove the er and you have sorti. Partir, you have parti. Finir, you have fini. But attention, you have some exceptions. You have verbs like venir, tenir, souffrir. Voila. Those verbs are exceptions. It's just some example because you have many of them. Just to obtain their past participle, you need other things. So next time we look into them. Now you can easily get your passé composé. So let us have an example. I went to the market. I went to the market. Now, the verb involved here is to go, went, past tense, went. So in French language, to go is aller. So if you have to check, I will realize that aller is on the list of 17 verbs. That 17 verbs, aller is there. So definitely we are going to use être as auxiliary. So I went to the market will be in French. Je. Now, you use the auxiliary être into the present tense. So what are you going to get now is je suis. So the être become je suis. And the plus the past participle. If you look, aller ends with er. And we say that to get the past participle of a verb ending with er, you just need to do what? To change the er to accent aigu. So you have aller. So now, I went to the market will be je suis allé au marché. Je suis allé au marché. Good. I ate a plate of rice. Another example. The verbs here involved is to eat. Manger. A verb ending with er. And if you check, this verb doesn't belong to the list of 17. So definitely you are going to use avoir. You see? Very simple. So we are going to use avoir as auxiliary. Je plus the auxiliary avoir into the present tense will give you j'ai. J'ai. Now plus the past participle of manger. Past participle of manger, you remove the er and you have what? Manger. And now we have our passé composé. I ate a plate of rice is j'ai mangé un plat de riz. J'ai mangé un plat de riz. I went to the cinema. Here again the verb involved is aller, to go. So aller now is on this list of 17. So definitely we are going to use être as auxiliary. So here again we'll have je plus être, je suis, and past participle of aller. Je suis allé au cinéma. Je suis allé au cinéma. So you see, you have another example. Je suis parti au marché. Je suis parti pour le marché. Je suis parti pour le marché. I left for the market. I left for the market. Partir is on the list of 17. So you see, it's very, very simple. Now you can start using passé composé. Just make sure that you identify where your verb belongs. If it is a verb on the list of 17, use être. If it is not there, use avoir. But also know that pronominal verbs also use être. In our subsequent lesson, we will talk about pronominal verbs. Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much. Once again, please don't forget to subscribe, to share, like. And once again, thank you for your comment. I am giving you assurance that in our next video, we'll make sure that we attend to all your questions. Au revoir, merci, bonne fin de journée.